righty, let's jump into this, folks. Today, I'm going to look at something that's been on my mind. I'm seeing Bernie Sanders out there and about preaching about Trump and being an oligarch and whatnot. But when Biden was in office, none of the DNC or rhinos, for that matter, lifted a finger when they were breaking our Constitution, bringing in fascism, bringing in communism, aligning with big tech, aligning with the oligarchs. Did absolutely nothing. So the question I have is Bernie a puppet? Or is he trying to push an agenda? What's really going on with this dude? So we're going to look at that, and we're going to use our Lenormand and tarot to find out. So what they want you to believe he's doing right now, the actual nonsense, is that they want you to believe that he's trying to expose the pain and the deception around Trump, right? That Trump is this evil monster and needs to be stopped at all cost. If not, then the country will burn to the ground. That's his play. That's what they need you to believe. Because he's a cancer, he'll eat away at everything. So they want you to believe that Trump's going to eat away at our country, eat away at our prosperity. So in Lenormand, the fish is usually around money, abundance, something like that. It has other meanings too, but for this economy, so Trump is going to destroy it because when you take away from everybody, make it a fascist regime or an oligarch, the money goes away from the people into the cancer, which are your oligarchs. And this is what Bernie's trying to preach. And then that will bring pain because if you have no money, then you go into a depression. Okay. And then they will come together, the oligarchs will come together. This is the garden, by the way, to form a new America to move on for a long time. So basically, remove your constitutional freedoms, put in play an oligarchy of some type, have the tech giants and the billionaires come together to rule the nation for a long time. That's what we're seeing here. What the hell was that? And that was my phone. Sorry about that. Weird, weird, weird. Okay, so then that's what they want you to believe. But what's he really up to? He wants to put a position in play where he'll be around for a very long time, stability for himself and his party. Basically, it's the same play. So everything he's accusing Trump of, he's going to do as well. All right. Being your friend for a long time commitment, a change of some type coming in here, where there'll be a stable way of doing things and a new letter, a new constitution that puts him in power or his party in power. So really, what he's really doing is he's trying to move with his speech to push his party back in power, the Democrat Party and the rhinos, to establish almost like a serfdom, is what I'm seeing here. So he's accusing Trump of being a cancer, taking away the money to put in more of a serfdom type of a situation where bring a lot of pain to people. The oligarchs will then come together and rule for just this point forward, right? Because of all these executive orders being signed, it's going to be very hard to reverse it unless there's a real president that's willing to stand up. And I'm not seeing that anytime soon. Then again, he'll play to be your friend, but a friend who will rule with an iron fist, the bear. The bear will reawaken. Isn't that what they said about Russia? Funny, I guess with Bernie, Russia coming back to power, the communists coming back to power. That's Bernie. Remember, he also went to Russia. He was pretty ingrained with that. I think it was back in the 70s. It's been a long time since I read up on that, but Google that for yourselves or look around. You'll see what I'm talking about, where he was pretty ingrained in that ideology and still is. So, with that being said, let's jump over to the tarot to see what is up. And for tarot, I'm going to use my zombie tarot deck. I think it'd be perfect and fitting for this. All right, so what more information can we get? The Eight of Wands. That's an interesting card. It seems to me that when I look at this card, not going off the traditional meaning of Rider Waite, that they'll do everything in their power to strip away your wealth. So if you have anything, they'll take from those who have and give to those who have not. It's a play in socialism. That's what I'm seeing here. And with the eight, it's all around ongoing, where it'll never stop in this fire. So always going to move fast, always take away fast. How? Raising taxes, crippling the economy, destroying pipelines, hurting the food supply. It's always a game in action. and you see the bone there, that's what we'll be eating is pretty much nothing. A pot of stew which contains water and stone. That actually happened many, many, many years ago over in Europe. My grandpa told me about that when he was a young man when we went through some hardship. Okay, then we have the Three of Swords. Man, it's going to bring a lot of people into hardship where they'll feel like they're dying. They'll have nothing left. Everything that they've been given will be taken from them and stripped, which makes sense because you have the heart, the cross here, pain, anchor, long time stability of pain, which kind of sums up the Three of Swords, where it's just a lot of mental anguish, a lot of mental trauma, and there's like no escape from it. And then we have the Hermit. The Hermit. That's an interesting card because when you look at it, I'm seeing to me what I'm seeing. I don't know what you're seeing, but reminds me of a boxcar, people that are just put in there as slaves and the rulers laying comfortable on the couch. Isn't that exactly what these politicians do? They take the wealth from the American people through any means necessary, USAID or taxes, however they want to extort it, they extort it, send it away, reap the rewards while the people starve and suffer and put into a boxcar, put into a place of captivity. They're constrained, which also I'm feeling the vibe here of the 15-minute city. So it's a very interesting thing that I'm seeing, and yet they have the chocolates for themselves, the politicians do. So they eat fat and high on the hog while everybody else here suffers greatly. That's wild. So that's what I'm seeing. Now let me pull one more card. And by the way, if you like my readings, let me know. I try not to go into too much talking where I go on and on about it. I try to be kind of quick and to the point. So if you do enjoy that here on Word of the Twist Tarot, drop me a comment and let me know, because if you don't let me know, I have no idea if you want me to go deeper or not. Before I pull these cards, dice, yes, that's wild. You see, so we're pulling a 23 here, a 2 and a 3. That's the mice card. That's your Cancer, right? So even though Lenormand, the very first card that we laid down was a 23, okay? And what this represents is the decisions being made, right, gives them a way to be creative, to push agendas. And that gives a 5. But the 5 is split. A 5 for them, the oligarchs, means freedom. A 5 for the people means struggle and famine and starvation and hardship and, oh my goodness, a Great Depression. So again, Bernie Sanders, from reading this here, he is pretty much part of the same team. So he's preaching one thing here, doing the other thing down here, acting like your friend. But at the end of the day, it's all about control. Even if I marry these cards, right? You have a lily, which is something very long term, and you have a bear, massive strength, right? With this card's funny because it has a crown too. It's a scepter, is a king. So a king will rule the United States, no longer a president. Oligarch. Here you have rat, Cancer, things to take away your friends. So basically, it's going to take away any loyalty that you had, take away your freedom that you had. It's going to strip you of everything that you once knew, right? So when you look at it, you can really see the damage these people are doing. They're doing it under false pretense because they're all a bunch of liars. Money, yes, the motive. They want your money. Isn't that wild? The first card I pulled from the Hidden Oracle deck, by the way, I create this deck, so if you're interested in it, look in the comments, is all around money. Only thing these people care about, they may preach socialism, they may preach fascism or whatever, but at the end of the day, they want your money. So you have nothing. That's the motive behind all this. That's what's really helping them move through this cycle of destruction. And they create smear campaigns. Card number 2. This is, see, the universe, see, I'm telling you something. Tarot to me is my religion because it's the universe speaking to you and it helps you see the answer. So it's not just random. I mean, they're putting the cards for you. I shuffled this deck and look at that. Money and now a smear campaign. Isn't that what Bernie's doing? Right? Trump's still better. Right? He's still part of the same team. But the point being is that they're using Bernie now to put a smear campaign on. So they want people to flip their switch, go to the other side. Then we have the narcissist, toxic. Isn't that exactly what these politicians are? They're dangerous individuals who only care about themselves. And as far as they're concerned about you and the common people, they're not. You know, you could be laying in a grave and that'd be just fine because now they have all your wealth, your property, and your assets so they can have more for themselves. one more. And isn't this like a wow factor here? I mean, look at it, every card I pulled. This thing just lines up beautifully. It just shows you how the universe is really helping us see what's going on, you know? The occult, secret society. And so, what is it today? Well, red and blue, which I've said many times on this channel, is purple, the color of kings, which are tyrants. So when you put the DNC and the rhinos, Republicans together, you have your own society because they don't want to have an actual uh, two-party system. They want a one-party system, and they do it in secrecy. They do it behind closed doors, so you have no idea what's going on. They lie to you, and everybody's involved. You have the media and so forth. Anyway, that's the reading I have for today about Bernie Sanders. And yes, he is part of the same team. He just speaking the same verbiage, but differently. He just wants you to flip your position to back him, a total narcissist, liar, gossiper. You know, they're all part of the same system. They're going to bring pain. They want to take away your prosperity and create a new constitution down here in this letter where it puts them in power. And that's funny because I saw something the other day, and I don't remember what it was at, so I can't quote it, but it was an executive order that Trump signed that puts him in power or something like that for a very long time, where it basically changes the way the presidency runs or something like that. Again, I wish I remember exactly the details. But I was kind of skimming through YouTube looking for something to do a reading on, and Bernie came up and so that other video, and it was by mainstream too. I think it was Fox or something like that. So I know that it's something that he did, and it's not good. Anyway, thank you for watching this reading with me, Kev, here at Words with a Twist Tarot. And if you enjoyed this, I need you to comment. I need you to give a like. I need you to subscribe. That's the only way other people can view this video. And until next time, I want to see each of you in my next reading. Bye, everybody.